we got a couple hours to sit here at the lodge, and we just want to show you guys some of the things that we're using chasing these big lake trout around the lake.
Yep. So we got a big selection here of lake trout gear. We have rods, reels, different types of line, lures, and we have a couple accessories that I think are key to reaching these lake trout down 100 feet.
Yeah, 100 feet or deeper even. Start off with, we've got the Fenwick Elite Tech. These are Predator Series rods. They're really, really good trolling rods. We've got a couple of them, 8.5 feet long. They are heavy action, which you need, especially fishing down deep. To get the good hook set, you need that really, really sturdy backbone. And I mean, we're getting into fish that are huge, right? So you need that sturdy. They've also got a fairly fast tip for a rod this size.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, which is actually great. Well, and when the lake trout are fighting too, especially when you got a vertical, they do a lot of head shaking, and having that flexibility in the tip gives you some, buffer.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? You don't want too stiff a tip on that. So the reels that we've got, today we're using Abu Garcia reels. We've got a couple of different kinds of Ambassador reels. This one is a record 6600 series. It's a high capacity, which is the main thing.
Yep.
We're using 50 pound, Zilla braid spider wire, which is great heavy line for these trout, but it takes up a lot of space on the reel.
Yeah.
So having a high capacity reel, there were times today when we were trolling where we got over 100 yards of line let out just to get down to the right depth. So make sure you've got a high capacity round reel with a good drag system. We've also got another one here too that has a line counter, which is also handy. We'll get more into that in a little bit.
Next thing to talk about here is the lure selection. We have a plethora of lures that we're using for these lake trout. Most of them are big, flashy lures. They create a lot of ruckus in the water to bring those big lake trout from the bottom. We're fishing in upwards to 100 feet of water, and you can see these hooks 30 feet down.
Yeah.
So, well, our main hooks of choice for this trip, and I would say main choice of hooks for the lodge, we have the red and yellow 5 of diamonds from Len Thompson at number 4. That's a crowd favorite. I think the world record lake trout was caught on a red and yellow 5 of diamonds.
Yeah.
Next thing we got here, blue and silver, just kind of trying to match the hatch. It's really clear water, so the silver really shines nice in that clear water. And
real good bait fish pattern.
It is, definitely. And the action on these Len Thompson spoons, they're awesome. The other one here is it's kind of new, last couple of years, a glow-in-the-dark pattern, 5 of diamonds. Just threw a brand new Berkeley swim bait hook on here just because we didn't have any extra single hooks this big with us. So we picked up some of these Berkeley swim bait hooks before we came here, and man, are they sticky sharp.
Yeah.
So just to add, because we actually saw that the trout were coming in and hammering the spoon, but they would miss the treble. So with this single hook, gives them more of an opportunity to get a mouthful.
It seems like we're getting a better hookup percentage in the single hook. It's also a little bit better for the fish too when you're catching on a treble. Sometimes on the retrieve you'll get them when they're flopping around. They'll get extra hooks into them, which is unnecessary. You only need the one hook to hit them. Now, really important when you're trolling long line as far as we are. Make sure you've got a barrel swivel on your spoon. Some of the spoons come with them attached, right? If it doesn't, make sure you tie a swivel, a snap swivel, or a swivel on your line.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Len Thompson, we've got a new series of hooks that we just got some prototypes for. This is called Northern King Lures, and Len Thompson is now going to be making these in Lacombe, Alberta. These are actually specially designed for trolling. They're not as heavy as your standard Len Thompson. They're a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, but they're great behind downriggers and trolling divers like we're using.
Yeah, and also they're so light that you can use them as kind of like an inline flasher, and that seems to be very effective for us.
Nice little attractor for the trout.
And it makes some nice flash in the water.
The hammered pattern especially it reflects a lot of light.
Yeah, definitely.
We got some other classic lake trout patterns that we've been using. The flatfish has been a favorite for lake trout fishermen for years. We've got a few different colors that we're using. Nice thing about these is They dive deep. They've got a lot of action. The lake trout seem to like that. If you're looking to get a little bit deeper, don't be afraid to experiment. We've got a couple of deep diving crankbaits. This is a new one that we had some success on today. Bigger profile, bigger fish. These are the only size that we had with us today, but if you can get deep diving crankbaits with a big profile, don't be afraid to throw that out and get good action for the lake trout.
Another thing we need to talk to you about is just some accessories that we have here. We've had to tweak our game a little bit here over the last couple of days, but one thing that has remained constant is this here. This is a Deep 6 diver, and what this does is you hook your hook, obviously, to the back of this, and this thing, once it starts trolling through the water, it dives deep, and it takes that hook down 60 feet, depending on how much line you have on. You can run lead core line on here too, and it'll drop it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But we've been running them behind the boat 120, 130 feet, and it seems to be getting down about 60, 70 feet down.
Yeah, these ones, they'll all come with a chart. When you pick one of these up at the store, it'll have a chart included. It'll tell you based on the length of your line and the size of your lure and various other factors how deep it's going to dive, right, and where you got it hooked. So, yeah, but
maybe we should talk about what happened to us on day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Day one, I had a big fish on, just hammered it, peeled line right away. It went straight to the bottom. We were fishing a big shelf. It came up to 30 feet, dropped down to about 80, and the fish went right over that ledge. And these things, when the fish hits, this is supposed to snap out so that you can just reel it back straight.
Yeah.
But there's a little screw here that, you know, me being the rookie using these things, had no idea you have to adjust this screw because they come pretty tight. And
yeah.
that was...
And I mean, you adjust the tension on your ball bearing because you want it to pop out when you're reeling back or when a fish hits it. But like if you're using a flatfish, that's compared to, say, a Len Thompson spoon, this is going to have a lot more pull. So you'll need to get the tension up or you'll be constantly popping out of that clip.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So definitely set the tension according to the type of lure that you're using.
So what happened with that big fish, went over the ledge, I started reeling it back in, and I was reeling against this Deep 6.
Yeah, so
and
it's just pulling it
it's
deeper.
just pulling it deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it got hooked on a rock, line went slack, fish was gone.
Getting down to the depth where the fish are, that's the biggest thing that we got to talk about. And when you're using these, I mean, your downrigger ball, it'll tell you basically the depth that you're fishing at. But with these, there's a little bit of experimentation involved to figure out how much line you need to let out to get down deep.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ways to keep track of that. Now, if you have a line counter reel, that's obviously the easiest way. A line counter reel tells you right here basically how much line you let out.
Yeah.
Right. You run through, reset it every time, and it'll tell you how much you got out. That's the easiest way. If you don't have one of those, Berkeley makes a handy clip-on line counter, which basically you can attach to any rod. You can clip on like that, drop your line in it, set it, and it works the same as a line counter reel, gives you the length that you got out. Now, we didn't have either of these two things the first day. One of the things that you can do to figure out how much line you're actually letting off your reel, when you're using a big round reel like this, you can see as we pull it, you've got your line guide moving back and forth. Well, what we did is, Neil, you want to grab that and just pull out. We kept pulling it out until we found one pass of the line guide equals 15 feet. And when you're releasing your lure, you just watch that, count how many times it goes past, and you get, 10 passes, you're down 150 feet, or you've let out 150 feet of line.
Yeah.
Take your diver conversion chart, and you can figure out how deep you're fishing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just about it for all the lake trout tackle and gear that we brought up with us to try out here at Cree Lake. And if you guys have any questions about any of these tactics, techniques, or just anything in general about what we just talked about, just please visit our forum. Just ask some questions on there. We're all active on there, and we'll do our best to help you out and point you in the right direction.
Yeah, or find us on Facebook and Twitter, send us a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on.